what am I doing this all for? I'm literally losing my mind. Fake worlds with fake people and their fake problems. Writing is crazy. It's like if I want to be a good content creator, put out well-made content regularly, content that I feel is like an actual indication of, me, that inevitably means having to cut back time spent on actual writing.
Go across the country to school. I've been thinking about it lately and I made up my mind. Is that cool? I wanna know it'll be hard to set my heart's far and always new. Yeah, I think that's what I wanna do. And baby, no, you can't see it's the best place for me, but I'm guessing that it's different when I'm looking from your point of view. From your point of view, oh. I said, baby, you've got things to do.
We're back. We're back. The vlogs are back, folks. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Writing Diaries. Good to have you here. So, what's new? What's new with you? Great. So in the last vlog, I mentioned that I was in a huge writing slump, and to be honest, I'm kind of still in it. But you know what? It's fine. We're just gonna move on. In this vlog, hopefully, I will be making some progress on Project Night. That is my primary focus. I have been working on like other projects in the meantime. I've been trying to do a lot of reading again. I feel like I have this tendency to equate my output with my self-worth, which is obviously not a good thing. It's just in general, I'm a very goal and output oriented person. When I don't feel as though I'm making progress in whatever I'm doing, whether that's my career or my writing, whatever it may be, we tend to kind of, negatively spiral. But yeah, obviously that kind of thing is literally toxic productivity. So we're not going to be entertaining that on this channel. I think that there's like not a lot of, but there are some writers who can like, bang out a manuscript in like a month or less, and we love that for them, but that's just not how it is over here. Because writing takes obviously such a long time. I've touched upon this before, probably in my what's it called? I don't even know what that video was called. This video. I think I've like mentioned this before, but I think as writers, because it takes so long to write anything, it can be really demotivating when you don't have any published, traditionally published or self-published work out there. Then there's also like, it starts to open up this conversation in your own mind about what it means to be a writer, and like, am I even a writer if I like can barely write 100 words at the end of the day? You know what I mean? Like, I know, and I truly believe that your publishing credits don't define you as a writer, but sometimes when you don't have external validation of your work or your talent or your effort, it can be really hard to open up that Scrivener file when you're like, what am I doing this all for? In terms of goal setting for this vlog, I'm not even gonna do it. I'm not even gonna goal set anymore. There are things that are probably not fleshed out in Project Night, and because I'm in Act 2, I'm like starting to feel them, but I don't exactly know what those aspects are yet completely. So I think what my plan is, my goal is obviously to still get through a first draft of Project Night. Like, I want to get to the end of it. I want to take the draft as far as I feel like I can go with it, and I want to write it for as long as y'all hear that? I live next to a school, so sometimes it's recess. There are issues in Project Night. I haven't written enough of it though to figure out exactly what those issues are. I'm just gonna keep chugging through it until they come to me, because that's pretty much what happened with Project Moon, my last fantasy book, was that around like the end of Act 2 into Act 3 was when I was like, the plot kind of falls apart. But I still got to the end of it because it was like a discovery process. So anyways, I don't know why I'm clapping for myself. Thanks for sticking around though, and hopefully we'll make some progress. 10:15 p.m. I kid you not, I have been working on my draft since like 3 p.m. today, like pretty much the entire day, or the entire like afternoon / evening. So that's like literally a solid 7 hours on and off. And I mean, I don't know how to feel. I really don't know how to feel. I kind of like was going back and like editing some other chapters like very faintly, and I was also editing the first scene in this chapter where I was like cutting some words out. So my word count, like net new words that I wrote today, 749. So basically, like I know that I've said like multiple times that like word count doesn't mean anything. Like that's not how we should measure our progress, but just the fact that like I was working on this for 7 hours on and off and I didn't even break 1,000 words today is like, what is going on with me right now? Every sentence that I've written has been like actually awful. I've also been like in the past 3 weeks or so, which is kind of like when my writing slump started, I tried to step away from this manuscript for a bit to see if I was just losing motivation or passion for this project. But to be honest, I still feel really passionate about the project. I genuinely still care about these characters and I want to be able to like, you know, give them an ending and to get through this first draft. But for some reason, I don't know what's going on with me right now. I just like can't form a decent sentence. I'm almost done this chapter, which I kid you not, I've been working on for, I want to say like 3 weeks. Like this is chapter 15 and that is the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 5th chapter in part 2. It's currently at 2.5K and it's almost done. Honestly, I think that like once I get through this chapter, I'm gonna feel better. That's my prediction. I don't know if that's true, but that's my prediction. I think because I've been working on this chapter for what feels like 3 weeks, like I haven't made any new progress. I think I've developed this like negative Pavlovian response to like opening up my draft and having to work on chapter 15. I'm hoping that this is the start of me finally crawling out of the slump. I'm hoping. I'm literally losing my mind. It's almost 10:30, so I'm going to finish this chapter. I don't even care how bad it is. I'm just gonna finish it. I just really want to get to chapter 17. I thought that chapter 14 to 16 was going to be some of my favorite chapters to write in the book. Like I was like really looking forward to writing these 3 chapters. And this is actually one of the first plot beats that I came up with in brainstorming. So I thought I would, you know, be super gung-ho about writing it. And at first I was like, writing the start of chapter 14 was really fun. But then I don't know, just like something happened. Something happened when I hit the end of chapter 14 and then starting chapter 15. I think knowing that chapter 16 is like the last chapter before we can like move on with the story is gonna make me feel better. I think in about 5,000 words, which is maybe another 2 chapters, that'll be pretty much the midpoint of the book, which is kind of cool. I have a writing sprint today. I'm not gonna lie, if I didn't have a writing sprint with my friend today, I feel like I would be dead. Like I don't know if I would be able to write. Yeah, the good news is I did finish writing chapter 15, which was the chapter that I was like crying about in the last clip. I just like want to be done, honestly, with these 3 chapters, 14, 15, 16. I just like have not been a fan of writing this section of the book. But yeah, I have 1 more chapter to write and then we are out of the woods. Well, we're not really out of the woods, but I will finally be progressing the plot. I'm also like, I've been trying to think of ways to basically like reset my, I don't know what the word is, like reset my mindset or my attitude towards this project because of the almost 2-week break that I took away from this project. I feel like I'm kind of losing focus or losing sight of the story that I'm actually trying to tell. So one thing that I want to do this week or this weekend maybe is to basically go back through my outline, write down all of the main plot beats and just kind of like refamiliarize myself with the story that I'm actually trying to tell. Like back in June or July or whenever the frick I started outlining this story, I had a really clear idea of the story that I wanted to tell. I had a clear idea, or a fairly clear idea, of who my characters were. But as the months have gone by, I feel like I've just kind of lost sight of all of that. So I think I'm just trying to find ways to kind of like refresh my mindset. I'm not gonna like re-outline the story or anything like that, because there's nothing that I concretely want to change at the moment, but I kind of want to refamiliarize myself with maybe 10 of the main plot beats, and then also refamiliarize myself with the character arcs for 4 to 5 main characters. I actually got this idea while I was watching one of Kelly's videos. She was talking about V. Schwab's writing process, and I started looking more into interviews that Victoria Schwab has done in the past about her writing process, and she's talked a lot about the fact that she tends to outline 5 to 10 plot beats that she knows that she wants to hit. And then she also writes backwards, in the sense that she needs to know the ending before she actually starts writing, and then she kind of like writes backwards, which I think is pretty in line with how I write as well, where I don't start writing until I know where I want the characters to be by the end of the story. And if I feel like I have a main conflict and at least 2 to 3 subplots, that's very much like how I outline. And I tend to also outline like chapter by chapter before I start writing. So I feel like it'll be kind of helpful. Currently 9:30, I am going to write for the rest of the night, and we'll see where we are by the time I feel sleepy. So last night, I think I only wrote like 100 new words. I think tonight I'm actually gonna start working on the draft earlier. It is currently 7 p.m. and I think I'm gonna try like getting through the first scene of this chapter like right now. Usually I write like really late into the night. I pretty much write like right before I go to bed, which I feel like is probably not a good idea, because it gives me an excuse to be like, oh, it's late, I can just stop writing even though I haven't written anything new. Whereas I feel like if I start writing right now, I can't reasonably go to bed at 7 p.m. I feel like this writing vlog is just going to be me trying to trick my brain into being in a writing mode. That's where I'm at the moment. Oh my god. Hi, hello. Today is Friday. It is the start of Thanksgiving weekend. So I think what I'm gonna do, I don't really know how I'm gonna structure this yet. Basically, I don't really want to go back through my entire outline, but I think I'm gonna go through each act, just ask myself what the heck is going on in each act, you know? Like, what are the main plot beats? It makes sense in my head. I don't know if it's making sense now that I'm saying it. This should not, oh my god, this should not even be a difficult chapter to write. Like, it's a fun part of the adventure. Like, the characters have kind of snuck their way into this event slash venue, and in chapter 16 they are basically just trying to get out quickly before they are noticed, because in chapter 15 they accomplished what they had to do and now they're trying to bounce really quickly. And then there's kind of like a bit of they like almost get caught while they're trying to escape. It should be a fun chapter to write, but for some reason I just feel like every time I look at the draft I want to cry. Actually, okay, act 2 is a fun act. Like, I just like double checked the outline, and like there's like a huge cliffhanger at the end of this act, but also there's just a lot of like fun little stuff happening. Even though I have been in a writing slump, I have been reading quite a bit. So I'm actually still reading these 2 books that I mentioned in my last vlog. I'm also reading Memorial by Alice Oswald. Poetry is like one of my favorite things to read when I'm trying to get like inspired to write, as I've mentioned many times, and I have just thoroughly been enjoying this this book. I've definitely been reading a lot more poetry this year, and I think this is gonna be like up there with some of my favorite poetry of this year. And the last book that I'm currently reading right now is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, which is a book that I've been wanting to read for like years now, and I'm finally getting around to it. But yeah, I'm honestly like only a quarter of the way in, but I think this might be some of my favorite prose of this year. We'll have to see.
That shit done.
Unfortunately today I can't write the entire day because it's Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure I said at one point in this vlog that I was going to be like crawling out of the writing slump, and I think that that is not happening. I'm actually struggling a lot with my descriptive language right now. The scene that I'm trying to work on right now, the characters have just stepped out into this like garden area. Right now I'm actually looking at some like colonial, like Spanish colonial estates, what I would imagine this place to look like, and trying to figure out what kind of like trees and plants and flowers would have been planted in these gardens. Like, I feel like maybe that this is something that I should not be worrying about in a first draft ever. I do think that my prose is suffering because I'm not fully imagining the setting as like a real place. I feel like there are so many aspects about this plot and this setting and these characters that are really exciting me, but when I get into the draft and think about all of the hurdles that I have to overcome, it's kind of putting these like blinders on me that is making me, you know, just like question whether or not I should be writing. Okay, so I have just spent the last little while, not that long, honestly, like probably like less than 20 minutes. Oh my god, why does my voice sound like this? I've spent the last little while just like, I basically went back into my outline. When I was like reviewing my outline, I realized that I was actually a little bit more organized than I thought I was. Essentially, like the way that I structure my outline notes is like I have like everything that's gonna happen in the chapter for every single chapter. And then I split that up into usually like 3 to 4 acts. The top, I'll write like the main story beats. For some reason, I thought that I had forgotten to do that for project night, but I actually did do it. I don't know why, I thought that my notes were way more disorganized than they actually are. Like there are definitely sections and like chunks that are like missing some details, but overall, I'm kind of already remembering some of the key things that happened, or like key events that happen in the climax. I thought that I had lost sight of that. So just going back through my notes, I'm basically trying to like piece together all of the plot beats, because I outlined this all the way back in like July. So there are a lot of like details that I just needed a refresher on. But yeah, so that summary section that I usually put at the start of every act, it's really just a way for me to see the story beats at a glance instead of having to like reread all the individual chapters. So I did that for part 1 and part 2. I didn't do that for act 3, so I just went back to do that right now. And then I was also rereading act 4. But anyways, yeah, I haven't actually done any like new writing today because I was literally just like going back through my outline again. There are some like key plot things that I remember that I planned for, but I'm trying to like remember what all of those things are so that I can foreshadow them properly in act 2. But then as I was writing act 2, I was like, I literally don't remember why this character is doing this thing. It's currently 5 p.m. so I think I'm going to like write for a couple hours. Yesterday I didn't get much writing done either, to be honest. Instead of writing, I made a mood board. To be honest, like I've never really been like a mood board person. Like you would think that I would enjoy making mood boards because IRL, I am a designer, but I've just never been like a mood board person. But lately it's kind of therapeutic. I feel like there is something that's really like valuable, I guess, about finding different ways to immerse yourself into your story, especially for those of us who are not writing real worlds. It can be, you know, sometimes the insanity of storytelling starts to like creep up on you. Just like, you know, writing fake worlds with fake people and their fake problems. It's crazy. Like, writing is crazy. So I haven't written anything new. However, I did buy some new books. I'm kind of like coping with my writing slump with retail therapy. So love that. Okay, but yeah, I picked up these 2 books because I really wanted to, well, I was always gonna pick up Dark Rise because I've just been like dying to read more of her stuff. I read her Captive Prince trilogy earlier this year, like in the summer, and like really enjoyed it. I really liked her writing style. So yeah, but this one is young adult, whereas her first trilogy was adult. So I'm really curious to see if there's gonna be like any differences in her writing style. Yeah, I'm really excited to get into this. There's fantasy in this. And if you like watched my summer wrap up, you would know that like one thing that I had mentioned about the Captive Prince trilogy is that I would have loved it even more if it was fantasy. And this one is fantasy. So I'm like really curious to see how she's gonna treat her world building. I also picked up Iron Widow because this was like such a buzzed about book. Obviously really exciting for the author, very happy for them. I believe this author is Canadian as well. I'm excited to read it, but also I'm like scared to read it. I was like perusing the prose. I'm not sure the writing style is something I'm gonna jive with. There's like these passages, I think, when you're in the main character's head where it's very telling over showing. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll like it. I really have no idea. Yeah, but I'm like really worried because like obviously I understand that a book is made up of a lot of different things. It's made up of character and world and plot as well as prose. On like a plot level, I do think that the world building and the concept sounds really, really cool, and I am like genuinely excited to like dive into it. But the prose, I don't really know. I don't know if it's for me. Like, I understand it's young adult. I'm not in that demographic anymore, so I'm not gonna be someone that's gonna like critique a YA book for sounding young because like the characters are young, the demographic is young. I'm excited to dive into it anyway and just like see how I feel. Hello, okay. I just wanted to pop back into the vlog to film the end of the video. I'm gonna end the vlog here. In terms of progress, I made not a substantial amount of progress, but I would say decent considering where my mental state was at the start of this vlog. I'm currently wrapping up chapter 16. I'm literally like in the middle of finishing up like the last scene, so I know that I will finish it today. And as I've said many times throughout this vlog, chapter 16 is the hump chapter because it's taken me so long to get through, and after I finish it we're in the midpoint of the act, so it's progress and I'll take it. So that's really all I have to update for the Project Night draft. We're feeling better, we're doing well, we're taking care of ourselves, it's fine. With that said, I am still very much like in a weird funk just like with my creativity right now. Like I basically came to a realization today, and I was considering whether or not this should be a whole separate video, like a topic that I could just like dedicate an entire video towards, but then I thought about the prospect of having to like film a whole separate video and like having to script it and edit it, and I was like, it's not worth it. Obviously I've been feeling very wrung out, as you guys have been able to see, but you may or may not have noticed that I stopped uploading every week, because I've been uploading regularly pretty much every single week since I started this channel back in May. I think a couple weeks ago, or like last month or something, I skipped a week of uploading, and I've done that twice already now. I will probably continue to be doing that. And the reason for that isn't because like I don't have video ideas or anything. Like there's a lot of things that I want to film for this channel, but I just can't keep up with a weekly uploading schedule. It's tough because like for me, I am just not the type of person who wants to put out videos that I feel like I'm half-assing. Apart from my vlogs, I script my videos and I spend a lot of time editing them. The way that I like to treat my videos is that I do like to put a lot of time into like the editing, and the time it takes to do all of that, like it's always ends up being like upwards of like 10 to 15 hours. I was basically planning out my October/November content, and I literally was like looking at my calendar and I was like, if I want to upload like every week, I am literally going to be burning myself out. I might not even be able to write. And it was just this like crazy paradox where I was like, I'm going to be making all these videos about writing, but I'm not actually gonna even have time to write. It was one of those like, you can't have your cake and eat it too type situations. It made me think about this video by Savannah Brown, which is titled, I could write my magnum opus or I could simply fall asleep. And I feel that on a spiritual level right now. I just feel like I've always told myself that like my writing has to come first, and like, you know, that should always be the priority. It's like if I want to be a good content creator, put out well-made content regularly, and like content that I feel is like an actual indication of, you know, me, that inevitably means having to cut back time spent on actual writing, because like I have to use not only that time, but also that creative energy. I have to put it towards not writing, which is kind of like inherently counterproductive to my main goal and aspiration to write. Either I'm a good, dedicated writer and a mediocre content creator, or I'm a dedicated content creator, but a mediocre writer. I think as a result, it also makes me feel really guilty every time I spend more time on my videos, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, why are you spending so much time on that? Because you should be writing. But also like, I want to spend that time on the video because I want it to turn out well. Basically, it comes down to like time management and creative burnout. I know that there are a lot of people that balance really tight schedules and are still able to write and to work full-time jobs and do other things. But yeah, like between my job and writing and making these videos, I'm definitely pushing myself. And I think it's gonna be just a constant practice of finding that balance, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I still have a lot of videos that I'm like excited to put out. I actually have a video essay that I'm really excited to film and edit and post. That is coming out next month. Yeah, it's a video essay, so it's going to be like very different from my usual type of content. I don't know how people are going to respond to it, like if you guys will like that kind of content, but I think it will be fun to just experiment, I guess, you know. So yeah, it's going to be a long video, I already know. I wish I could put it out sooner, but it's just gonna take a really long time to make and I don't want to rush it. I will also be putting out a couple NaNoWriMo related videos in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out for that if you are interested in that. I think I made it through everything that I needed to talk about today, so we're good. Thank you guys as always for sticking around to the end of this vlog, and I will see you in the next one.
That's what I wanna do. And baby, no, you can't see it's the best place for me, but I'm guessing that it's different when I'm looking from your point of view. From your point of view, oh. I said, baby, you've got things to do, and that's alright.